What's going down, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and the phone you've been waiting for is finally here. Ooh. Samsung Galaxy S2, finally in the house, announced at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona a few months ago, and it's available if you want to order it through Expansis USA, some of these online retailers. Not quite available from a carrier in the US just yet, and there's a pretty long wait time on these devices, but you can get it. It's pretty expensive, about $780, give or take, depending on which shipping method you use, but at least you can order it. Specs-wise, you know the specs: 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, 4.3-inch Super AMOLED Plus display, 8-megapixel camera, reasonably sized battery, Android 2.3. It's the Android phone, or at least this is what they say. It's the Android phone to end all other Android phones. Is that the case? We're going to try to find out a little bit of that in the unboxing, but first, special thanks to our friends at Best Buy. They're not hooking us up with these, but they're giving us a lot of cool phones that we can give to you in the One Paw Bandit game. So when you go into Best Buy Mobile, you don't have to deal with rebates. You walk out the door and you pay the after rebate price. But enough of that, let's get into it. Samsung Galaxy S2, I know you guys have been waiting for this unboxing. I've been waiting for forever for this device to get in, and it's finally here, so let's get to it. Bam, here it is. Finally here, the Samsung Galaxy S2, and in case you didn't know, it has a 1.2 gigahertz processor. For whatever reason, I find it funny that they put that on the box. It's like Samsung Galaxy S2 cell phone. I don't know, I just find that it's an interesting place to put it. You're probably wondering, why is this out here? Well, if you order it from Expansis USA, which is probably the cheapest route to go right now, if you're in the United States, you'll get one of these because it comes with a European-based charger in the box. So you get the converter so you can plug it in at home, and that comes in the box, comes separate from the Galaxy S2. But it's finally here, announced at Mobile World Congress. We're anxiously waiting it in the United States, waiting for it to come to a carrier. But right now, unlocked only, and has to be brought in or bought, from an online store. So model number GTI 9100, and on the back, 16 gigabytes. You see here, and let me pull this up so you can read it. Dual-core 1.2 gigahertz Exynos processor, 8-megapixel camera with autofocus, and then you have your front-facing camera as well. Full HD 1080p, which will do a 1080p test. That'll be on the site. Look for that. Multi-codec, Bluetooth 3.0. It's running Android 2.3. Late version of Android running TouchWiz 4.0. Latest version of TouchWiz from Samsung. It has a nice big 1650 milliamp hour battery. So 1,650, a little bit better than those 1,500 milliamp hour batteries we're used to on the Evo 4G and some of the other mid-range high-end devices. So hopefully that'll translate into better battery life. 4.3-inch Super AMOLED Plus display. You can see the logo here, of course, Wi-Fi capable. And a little paragraph: experience a mobile world without limitations. Samsung Galaxy S2 will deliver to you a remarkable speed supported by powerful dual-core processor. Okay, I'm done. But you get the idea. Samsung Galaxy S2 on the sides, very pretty box actually in comparison to what we see in the United States. And here it is, Samsung Galaxy S2. Ooh, I don't know, I'm just very excited. If it's funny, if you look at this and you're like, hey, this looks familiar, let me snag another phone that probably is what's making you think that. The Infuse. Very, very, very similar on the back. Similar texturized battery door. This one's gray, this one's black, and a little bit of a different texture, but still almost identical. In the design department, this just has a 4.3-inch display as opposed to a 4.5-inch display. So here's the phone. We're going to power it up, and you have your camera there, your front-facing camera on the top left-hand side. You have this different button scheme down here. For people that are in Europe, they're probably used to this from some of the older Galaxy S devices, but we're not in the States. We're used to our 4 capacitive buttons down here: home, menu, back, and search. On this one, you have back here, or excuse me, menu here, you have back here, and then this is a physical button which takes you home. And then you have your 8-megapixel camera with a flash in the back. Power button in typical Samsung fashion there on the right side. Volume rocker on the left. Lanyard hole, 3.5mm headphone jack, and then your micro USB charging port on the bottom. So very, very thin. I think it's 8.49 millimeters thin if I remember right. So just a little bit thinner actually than the Samsung Infuse. But I mean, just absolutely gorgeous screen. Now that that's off, I'm not sure if this is doing it justice, but you can see Super AMOLED Plus display. Let me shine this light away so we can probably zoom up in on it. But I mean, just beautiful colors. The blacks are incredibly black. Get an idea of what it looks like. And you can see it's running Gingerbread as well. So out of the box, this is what it looks like. It's programmed on Charlotte, and I have my account in there. I wanted to get it set up for you so we could go through it and spend a lot of time on the device itself versus the setup. But it's running TouchWiz 4.0, like I said, and while we're waiting, let's go ahead and see what comes in the box. Little holder there for the phone. GT 9100 quick start guide, warranty card, all that stuff. You get your earbuds down here, typical Samsung earbuds, headset Eco 2. I don't speak French, I speak Spanish, so That doesn't really work for me. Earbud, extra earbud replacements. And then here is your charger, which you'll notice, again, European charger. So thanks to this, pop that in, and you can use it. If you buy it through Expanses, again, you can use that in your home charger as opposed to having to go out and buy one from Staples or from Best Buy, something like that. Then you have your USB cable as well, because you'll notice that in most of these, it's an AC adapter and a USB cable that merge together to make an actual charger. This is a dedicated charger that comes in the box, and then you have a separate USB cable. So you get quite a few accessories in the box, and this will be where the battery was, but I already put that in. So let's take a look here and do a quick run through. Like I said, Android 2.3, and you can see some automatic changes to TouchWiz here. I mean, just in the way it looks. The menu looks different. The notifications bar looks different, at least in terms of icons. You can see how Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS. It's all just very refined to me, and they've really taken TouchWiz. If you look at what it was on the older Galaxy S devices and compare it, significant improvements. Like, take a look at this, how it changes down here at the bottom. Instead of that whole, popping up like a typical Android scheme. Let me see if the Infuse is turned on. I'll show you in comparison. This, typical Android, versus this, refined TouchWiz 4.0. where it's down here at the bottom. So to me, it's just cleaner, looks better. So we can add a widget, and watch this as well. Doesn't bring up that kind of boring menu of widgets. I scroll down here at the bottom and get to choose which widgets. So they've really done a good job. They've really, 3.0 to 4.0 is a substantial improvement over past versions or minor improvements from, let's say, the Infuse to the Galaxy S line of last year. A lot of options in the widget department. Let's see. Let's pick one. We'll do, how about mini paper? We'll pick that. Mini paper there, power settings. And what I can do is basically just keep clicking until it's full on the screen. I don't think I can fit any, I can't fit anything else. So you can see I just keep clicking and it auto fills up, and then from there I can remove. And you should see the animations here on the home screen, how it's different. Like when I click, how it kind of in the background kind of swaps it up to the front, or plops it up to the front rather, as opposed to kind of the rough edges that we're used to on some of the older versions of TouchWiz. So really impressed with it. Looks much better, feels much better, and just all around very fluid. That 1.2 gigahertz dual core Exynos processor really at work there. Can definitely tell that. And just for fun, we do need to do a quadrant standard test, but let's run through the apps pre-installed first. You get clock calendar, and they're all kind of out of order, but clock calendar, music, internet, and you can see some of the icons have changed from from Froyo to Gingerbread, and from the fact that it's running 3.0 to 4.0. You can see internet, camera, maps, email, Gmail. Then Samsung stuff down here: Social Hub, Music Hub, Readers Hub, Game Hub. And if you remember back to Mobile World Congress when we were covering the Samsung stuff, those are their new hubs, in addition to, Media Hub. It's kind of an extension of that, where I can go directly into Music Hub as opposed to, let's see, do not show for 90 days. Yes. And so we can see it's a music specific hub as opposed to movies and things like that. So they've just kind of separated those out. Continue. And then when I click that, I can return home. So you get the idea. But back to what we were doing, I'll share my files, videos, I think it's pronounced Kai's Air, whatever it is, which allows for automatic updating to your device. That's Samsung's updating tool, as opposed to just doing it over the air, which some people love, some people hate. I don't care for it, but hey, it is what it is. Voice command, voice recorder, voice talk, search, download. So kind of similar stuff that you're used to, but Samsung apps, IM, so they have their own dedicated app store, Polaris Office, and then some of the apps that I've installed. But let's take a look at Samsung apps just to see. Again, I have light shining on this, so you may not be able to tell, but just the colors in this are exceptional. All applications, the Samsung app are being, that's fine. And so pop it up and see. And it's interesting, this is just a very preliminary thing, because I've only had the device for a couple of hours and I haven't even played with it. I literally put the battery in, set it up, and put it back because I wanted to unbox it with you. But AT&T reception's not the best in my home office, and this is by far the best signal strength reading I'm seeing out of any AT&T device that I've been working with. So 2 bars is pretty decent, and it seems to be pretty consistent 2 bars, which is good. Actually, while that's downloading, we're going to go back and take a look at some of the other applications. Let's do messaging just to see what that looks like. And you can see some minor changes up here. For those of you that are really used to TouchWiz and Android, you'll see the changes. For example, the messaging has changed slightly. So we can say the quick brown fox loves this phone. And this is a Samsung keyboard. It actually looks a lot like the gingerbread keyboard, but it comes out of the box Samsung keypad and swipe. There are alternatives available in the Android market. You can sideload applications as well, so if there's a particular keyboard you want that works with Android 2.3, by all means, you can use it. So run a quadrant standard score, and while we're running that, I'm going to sign off and activate unknown sources. Run a quadrant standard score, and then sign off. Run full benchmark. So it'll be interesting to see how this device fares in comparison to some of these other devices. And don't worry, we'll have dogfights between this, the G2X, all the hot smartphones on the market, the Infuse, Samsung versus Samsung, brother versus brother. That's going to be a tough one, but somebody's going to win. But overall, you know, pretty impressed with it thus far. Loved it at Mobile World Congress. Still love it. It's a good size, and while it is just ever so slightly smaller than the Infuse 4G, it packs that dual-core processor, which makes it much faster, and I think you'll be pretty impressed with what the quadrant standard scores look like. Now, that said, you know, the bottom button placement may be a little confusing to some at first, but hey, you know, got to get used to it. We got to do what we got to do till it comes to the United States. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with the Samsung Galaxy S2. We'll be doing dogfights, like I said, and much more. 3066 quadrant standard score, 3066. Compare that to about 1200 on most high-end devices that are available from U.S. carriers right now. Evo 4G Inspire's a little faster, about 1800, but still, Atrix is about 2400 in comparison. G2X about 2400. Very, very, very fast device. Much more coverage to come on Samsung Galaxy S2. PhoneDog.com will be doing dogfights, much more reviews, 1080p video footage, and more. Be sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're giving away a bunch of devices, and an iPad 2 is part of our colossal iPad 2 and smartphone sweepstakes. Check it out, facebook.com/PhoneDog. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked on the site, and we'll see you next time.